Mexico. It's absolutely gorgeous here. As you can hear the ocean. I'll show you the ocean in a minute. We are at the Akumal Bay Beach and Wellness Resort in Akumal. Akumal is spelled A-K-U-M-A-L, and it is Mayan for place of the turtles, because this is a giant sea turtle preserve. The giant sea turtles come up from about May through October-ish, usually done by October, and lay their eggs in the soft sand of this beach, and then they hatch from about June till around now, or maybe a little later than now. Some nests are still waiting to hatch. There's a few that I can see marked up and down the beach, but most of them are all hatched. And then the younger ones tend to live out in the waters just off the resort. The bigger ones are out by the reef. But it's gorgeous and it's quiet. More quiet now because of the Rona. It's dropped the occupancy rate dramatically, and so not all of the restaurants are open every night. There's just two that kind of rotate. The gourmet restaurant, which is really good. The Peruvian restaurant, also really good. Mexican, it was really good last night. We didn't typically like it before, but we really liked it last night. Hopefully that's a constant. And then the buffet that's open breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. But the gourmet and the Peruvian rotate. They go back and forth when they're open. We are at the farther south end of the resort, in front of building 3. When occupancy goes up, buildings 3 and 4 will open. I'm pretty sure building 2 is not open as well. That's the main building by the big pool. We are in building 1. It's really nice still. I mean, you can't beat any room in this resort. But our preference is building 3, which is behind me. But I'll show you the whole resort. We'll do a whole tour. A few tips about our trip. Because of coronavirus, yes, they are requiring that you use masks on all flights, that you cover both your mouth and your nose, that it be a regular mask, not a mesh one, and they are not allowing the kind with the little vents or, breathing plugs in them, unless you then cover that with a regular mask. So make that part of your plan, because they will not let you fly without it. You're also going to want to consider packing some snacks and empty water bottles that you can fill in the airport. Maybe bring some powdered drink mix of the flavors that you like, because drinks are expensive in the airports and not everything is open all the time. Some airports are very closed down and there's very limited choices. Others are more open. If you're flying out of Salt Lake City, which we were, the main brand new terminal, there's a lot of things that are open. But if your gate, like ours was, is in the old section of the airport, it's quite a hike and nothing is open. There's not even a vending machine. So plan to either eat before you go to your gate or bring something to eat and drink, because there's nothing. We connected through Orlando, and Orlando's pretty open as far as options for eating and drinking. It's a beautiful airport. I really liked it. And very easy to navigate. And then our flight down here was on JetBlue Airlines. I like them. They're pretty reliable. They communicated really well about everything that was going on. We had a little bit of a delay in our connecting flight, but it was no big deal, and they communicated about it. Their seats are extremely uncomfortable. So maybe next time I'll think about bringing a seat pillow. Who knows? But they were pretty uncomfortable, and not all of the seat back entertainment things, not all of them work very well. So, I don't know if it's something they need to be working on, or if that's just the nature of it. Just every flight they reboot them, and maybe they just need to reboot them a little better. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, On all airlines, you don't really have a choice of drinks. They give you a little snack bag and it has just a small snack in it, usually like Cheez-Its or something, and a small bottle of water. It's enough to get you by on a few hours flight, but if you have a longer flight, hopefully they have something better than that. I would think that they would. And then navigating through the Cancun airport, it's easier than it used to be, but there are still things that you need to do. No taking photographs or using your cell phone while you're in the customs and immigration area. Of course, you cannot bring any produce, meats, cheeses, things like that, no fresh fruits through customs, and they will check. So if you have something like that that you've picked up to snack on the trip, make sure you dispose of it before you get down there. You'll first go through immigration. Pretty simple to navigate. They will on the flight you'll have a paper that you'll fill out. It's very straightforward. It's written in both Spanish and English. English is second, so when you look at it, don't panic that you can't understand what it's saying. Go a little further in the instructions and you'll see the English version. Fill that out on the plane. If you have any questions, ask your flight attendant. Don't wait until you get to immigration because they have very little patience for people that didn't take the time on the flight to fill it out. And then you're going to go through customs. Before you get to customs, when you're going through immigration, they're going to tear off the bottom portion of that form that you filled out. And be sure you fill both the top and the bottom sections that are just for you to fill out. It's just basically your name, your contact information, where you're staying, that kind of thing. But fill both sections, and then they'll tear off the bottom section and they will put it in your passport. Hang on to that, because if you lose it, it costs about $50 to replace it, and you cannot leave the country without one. So keep that as safe as you keep your passport. Once you get through immigration, you will go pick up your luggage, and then you will go through customs. It's pretty straightforward. They'll just ask you a couple of questions as you go through. First, you'll be asked, are you bringing any cigarettes or cigars or things like that? And then they'll ask you about produce and stuff. I got my pina colada, no alcohol. Even if you're a person that drinks alcohol, I would strongly advise that you watch how much alcohol you're drinking in this Mexican sun, because the heat of this sun combined with alcohol are not a good mix if you want to enjoy the rest of your vacation without spending it in bed. Okay, once you pass through customs, depending on which terminal you come in, you're either going to immediately go into this hallway where there are a lot of timeshare employees, or you'll first pass through a curved hallway past a bunch of rental car companies, and then you'll go into the corridor where all of the timeshare employees are. They claim that they're helping you to find your private transportation. They will act like they are there for that purpose, that they're official employees. They'll try to tell you you have to stop and talk to them, that it's something you're supposed to do. They're going to try anything they can to get you to stop and talk to them. And they'll also offer you, oh, we've got special discounts, or you get a free dinner, or whatever. They're going to promise you a lot of things just so that you sign on the dotted line that you will attend a timeshare presentation that they claim will only take an hour or two. These timeshare presentations take many hours, and they are high pressure sales, and it is not worth it. If you're looking for a timeshare, search for it on your own. Don't trust these vendors, because their entire function in life is to get you to sign with their company to do the presentation, and then for you to sign a very expensive timeshare agreement that isn't going to be very easy for you to sell once you realize you're really not going to use it. But it's up to you. You can do what you want. I can tell you that you're better off not wasting a part of your hard work or vacation sitting in a room listening to a sales pitch. We did it the first time that we came down here, and we regretted it. And it was all because we took that minute to stop and talk to those people, because we thought we were being polite, listening to what they had to say, that we believed that they were going to help us find our ground transportation. And in the end, yeah, they knew where it was, but we could have found it without them. But it took a long day, and in the end, because we wouldn't sign, they tried to get out of giving us the rewards that we had earned, and they were not very pleasant about it. So I recommend avoiding that. Once you're through, just make a beeline straight through those doors and out to where all the ground transportation is waiting. Those guys might still try to trick you into thinking that they are working for your company. If you use the company we do, USA Transfers, they have a sign that they hold up that says it very clearly, USA Transfers. If you don't see that, it's not them, and they don't work for them. I don't know what other companies do, but I know what they do. Once you've got your ground transportation, you're on your way. And if you're coming to Akumal, it's going to be about an hour and 20-minute drive from the airport. USA Transfers, I can't recommend them enough. They are so reliable, and the drivers are so safe. They're very safe drivers. Most of them speak very good English, and we've always gotten good value out of working with them. They drop you off, take your luggage over to the luggage guy, and you're on your way. Walk up into the lobby. They'll be waiting there with a nice cool washcloth that is infused with some lavender, so you can freshen up after that trip, and it's heavenly. If you're an alcohol drinker, they are always waiting with an alcohol welcome drink, usually a margarita. But if you don't drink alcohol, you're going to have to tell them when they bring it over. You'll have to ask them, is there alcohol in it? And if you don't drink alcohol and you want a welcome drink, just tell them what you want. We usually get a mojito, which is very refreshing. Check-in process is really fast here, and rooms are beautiful, comfortable. Beds are really nice and soft. There is no bad room on the place, not one. I like the rooms on the 3rd floor or the top floor if you can get a penthouse. The view is phenomenal, but like I said, there's no bad rooms. And the benefit of a ground floor room, which they refer to as their garden room, is that it has a very large patio with deck chairs, and it's really nice. But we like to be up high. We like to have that spectacular ocean view. Other tips for traveling to Mexico. Again, like I said before, bring pesos. It's really hard for the locals to do the exchange from American dollars or Canadian dollars over to pesos, which they have to do. They'll have to stand in line, a long line, and they won't get as good an exchange rate, and so you may think you just tipped them a few dollars, and really you didn't tip them that much. So I would recommend bringing pesos. And there's apps that can do the conversion for you so that you're not having to remember how much does a 200 peso bill, how much is that worth. So, and that changes based on the exchange rate. So I can tell you one thing now, and it'll be different if the exchange rate changes. As of now, I think we got 20 US dollars to the peso. Seems to me that's how much what the exchange rate was for us. But, you know, it could change. Right now, we have the afternoon buildup of storm clouds. This time of year, and most times of year, you'll see that they're calling for like afternoon scattered showers, afternoon thunderstorms, or 70% chance of rain. Our experience has been, except for on a rare occasion, the storms come in the afternoon when it gets really hot and you want it to cool down, and then they're gone by evening. And typically they just kind of blow in and blow out. This looks like it might last for a bit longer, because it's a little bit slower moving. We'll see. But no, it's definitely needed, definitely cool. Kim is out swimming. This is our first day here. I'll try and update as we go along. I'm going to do a full resort tour, so watch for that. I may do it in bits and pieces instead of all one. It just depends. Right now, because of the virus, occupancy is extremely low. So low that they cannot even justify having the buffet. It's open, but it's not run as a buffet. You can order whatever you want off of their menu, and they'll just bring it until you're done. Alright. That was a fairly brief little sprinkle. Wasn't bad. It was just because it was windy that it felt like it was going to be more. That's kind of the way the weather goes around here. You'll see your weather reports showing 70% chance of showers or thunderstorms every single day. And that's true, but it's not like it's going to be raining constantly. You'll get your brief shower, your occasional downpour, and sometimes a really cool thunderstorm, which we really like. But for the most part, it's just sun, sun, sun. And we're always grateful for those little brief breaks from the sun, because the Mexican sun is extremely hot. You are closer to the equator than probably most of us are used to. For the first day or two, I recommend using sunscreen, even if you don't tend to burn, because there's nothing quicker that'll ruin your vacation than getting a very uncomfortable sunburn. So just protect yourself for the first couple of days, and then your skin will adapt to it. You'll be fine. Do bring reef safe things like sunscreen, suntan lotion, bug spray, things like that, because this is a protected area. The reefs are very easily affected by those kinds of chemicals that have a tendency to damage them, cause them to be exposed to sun bleaching. It's toxic to much of the sea life. So even if you have to order it online, get that, or wait till you get here and buy it here, but it will be a lot more expensive. But, you know, it's a resort town, so that's to be expected. Something that we always do on our first day here is take a stool softener. People don't take into account the effect that traveling, sitting a lot during your air travel, and then suddenly eating more than you typically do, and maybe not hydrating as much as you should in this kind of sun, the effect that that'll have on your digestive system. But it can cause you to be very constipated, and that's not a fun way to spend your vacation either. So take a stool softener for at least the first day, maybe the second day, and then you should be fine. As far as the water, I know that in Mexico, typically the water is not safe to drink, and that's still true. The resorts have, particularly this resort, have a reverse osmosis water filtration system. So the water here is safe to drink. We don't drink it typically. We can brush our teeth with it, but we don't typically drink it. They provide you with bottles of filtered water, clean water. Make sure that they're sealed when you open them. And we've never had a problem here at the resort. But we don't drink water or drinks with ice outside of the nicer restaurants off the resort. If you're like eating from a street vendor or things like that, don't eat anything that needs to be washed, like lettuces. And don't drink the water, don't use the ice, because it can give you a nasty case of diarrhea. So don't do that. Because we're in a turtle preserve, on that same note, don't touch the turtles. Not the babies and not the adults, under any circumstances. If you do happen to touch them, don't handle food or drink until you've had a chance to thoroughly wash with soap and water. because turtles, like most reptiles, carry salmonella on the surface of their skin. And they will transmit that to you, and then if you handle your drink cup or eat food, put your hand near your mouth or in your mouth, and that goes for children especially, and you haven't washed thoroughly with soap and water, you are going to probably get a very nasty stomach upset. And that'll put you down for at least a day, if not longer. And it could even put you in the hospital if it's bad enough. So, for just that reason, don't touch them. You're also not supposed to touch them because they are a protected species. There's no reason why you need to be touching them, and you should not be handling them at all. When you snorkel or swim, if you see a turtle, don't hover over it because it needs to be able to surface to get air. And don't chase it. Don't get too close to it. You're just harassing it, and it's just trying to live its life. And you can be fined for harassing the turtles, so don't do that. And any shells that you see out in the water, leave them out there. You can be fined for bringing those kinds of things out of the water, pieces of coral, things like that. But it's also typically the habitat of another creature, and you may not even see it in there, and now you're going to bring it out of the water and it's going to die. Just so that you could have a souvenir that you could easily have bought in a gift shop. Take pictures of it, but leave it there. Do bring in garbage that you see if you have a chance to. People are disgusting, and stuff washes in from the ocean. So if you see some and you want to help out, bring it in. Throw it away. Yeah, try to enjoy your vacation as much as possible, but also try to be a good tourist. Be kind to people, smile, be thankful, be pleasant and courteous. That's not just for each other, but that's also for the people that are working so hard to earn a living by working in this tourist industry. They're not here to be your slave, they're not here to be your friend. They're here to be able to survive and to feed their family. And if in the process you make some friends, that's great. But take care of all of them. Tip them if they provide a service that you felt like was worthy of a tip, or if it's your custom to tip. And remember that even though it's an all-inclusive, tips are not included, ever. And these people don't make very much money at all. So any kind of a tip is highly appreciated. You don't have to tip what we tip back home at a restaurant, because I realize you're eating every single night, every meal, every single day. You're pretty much going to eat here. But if somebody has given you really good service while you've been here, we usually will wait till the last day and then choose the people that we feel like really worked hard, and we'll reward them with an extra high tip. But we tip throughout the whole trip. Every meal we tip a few dollars. We tip the maid every day $2, and that's $2 US, not pesos, but US. But we tip it in pesos. So basically that's 400 pesos a day for the housekeeper. We'll tip a few dollars for breakfast and lunch, and then we'll tip probably 5 or 10 at dinner. But that's just because we're eating every meal here, and we're not going to be tipping $20 like we do back home every night of the week. We'd go broke. So, but we do try to tip at every meal. And the waitresses that bring the drinks around, we'll tip them a few dollars if they brought more than one drink for us. Or I don't know, sometimes Tim will just tip on the first one. But we don't like tip every single drink. Some people can afford to do that. We cannot afford to do that. But feel free, because they do work hard.